guys and welcome to the Watchtower Watch Reviews with your host DK, and today we're taking a look again at Pagani Design, specifically one of their new releases for 2021, the Pagani Design PD1682, aka their Explorer II GMT Homage. So they are of course homaging another Rolex watch. They seem to have, a bit of an affinity for doing that. But this one is a bit higher priced. So the price for this one is over €100, towards the 120 mark. Now that is a bit of a step up from what Pagani were charging previously when I first started getting into them. So I suppose the question is this extra cost worth it? Or are they simply trading on the name? Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's get to it. So it is an all Pagani design affair on the table today. Well, except for Yoda anyway. You've got these four on my left have been in my collection for a while, and the one on the right is a giveaway watch. My 43mm gold and black sub. The Rolex GMT Master 2 Homage in Batman colours, the Daytona with the Mecha Quartz, and the 40mm sub in blue, with the right one being the Omega No Time to Die Homage. So, inside the box you get the usual, you get the spare links, so I've got 6 of them taken out here. You have the little Pagani Design hang tag that says top waterproof. I don't remember if that was on all of them, but it seems new, I don't remember ever seeing it. You have something that is not new, of course, the Pagani Design guarantee card. Not only is it unsigned, it isn't even unwrapped. And you have, of course, a manual, which you will never ever use. You do, of course, get the polishing cloth as well. The polishing cloths are actually good. I use them quite a lot. And we get the watch. I went for the polar white dial variant of this one. So dimensions, you're looking at a 42mm diameter, and at the crown it is 45.2 by my measurements. Lug tip to lug tip is 49.5mm. However, with those mid links, it does protrude out a bit to 54.8mm. So not huge, but not small either. Might suit guys with bigger wrists as well. Lug width is 20mm, tapering down on the bracelet to 17.7, back up to 19.5 at that clasp. You've got a thickness of about 12.5mm, so again, reasonably thick on this one. That's not including the sapphire Cyclops. The weight with all links is 175 grams, however with 6 links removed from my just under 7-inch wrist, it weighs in at 149 grams. So specs on this one, like all other Paganis, it is an all stainless steel construction, case, crown, bracelet, and of course that solid stainless steel bezel. It is high polish on the case sides and on the crown, with brushed lugs, a brushed bezel actually, and a brushed bracelet. You can see there those high polish surfaces giving off quite a glint off the light, and the polished bracelet then just not quite glinting as much, which is good because that's the side that will be facing you when you try and read the time, of course. The brushing on all of this is fairly solid without being exceptional. It is a solid link bracelet with solid end links, a signed milled clasp, and they are screw links. However, there is a little gap in between mine there for some reason, and I haven't quite figured out why that is. Because it's not missing a screw, because the screw goes in the other side. It's a bit of a strange one. As I say, anyway, so we have a different clasp. We don't have the Rolex style clasp that they normally use. This one is a much better clasp in my view, because of the fact that you can actually use those 3 micro adjusts. It is of course a machined clasp, it is signed, it is brushed as well, and not only that, there is a diver's extension. So you do get to use this for, sweaty days, or if your wrist swells for any reason, maybe if you've injured it as well. It is of course a solid brushed bezel with stamped numbers, and they are filled in black. Flat sapphire crystal and a sapphire cyclops. There is no AR coating on this one, and because it's completely flat, there is no distortion as well on that dial, so it is pretty visible from all angles. A signed only pull-push crown though, screw-down exhibition case back, and that gives you 100 meters of water resistance. The back just has the Pagani Design, stainless steel, and the 100 meters water resistance, and of course the code for 1682. You can see that movement there moving around as I shake it. As I say, it is an automatic movement, specifically the Pearl DG5833A. Normally with Paganis I'd be telling you to unscrew the crown, however to hand wind it you can actually hand wind it from the first position. To adjust the GMT hand and the date, you simply pull it out to the second position, turn it towards yourself to adjust the GMT hand, turn it away from yourself to adjust the date there. As you can see, it turns over there quite nicely, and it also turns over at about 5 to 12 on a snap date. And then pull it out once more, and it allows you to of course adjust the time, and it stops the second hand, so this movement does feature hacking. So it is time for the macro now, of course, and you can see the fact that this is a white dial. It is very, very legible with the white and black. You can see there as well those stamped in numbers around the outside for the 24-hour tracker. Applied indices all around, triangle at the 12, circular all around the normal numbers, and then batons down at the 6 and at the 9. You have the fact that it's, again, automatic, GMT, water resistance, 10 bar or 100 meters water resistant above the 6 o'clock position, Cyclops at the 3, GMT hand in orange in the arrow pointer as with the Rolex that it's homaging, and you have of course the traditional Mercedes hands that you would get on most Rolexes and Rolex homages alike. You can see when you zoom in, the brushing is pretty decent actually on the bezel. I might have been a bit harsh on that one, not as great in the old lugs, I think. And here it is out on my nearly 7-inch wrist. You can see there that brush bracelet not giving too much shine as well. I did give that bracelet and the looks of this watch a bit of a hard time in the unboxing, but I have grown to like it a bit more on the bracelet. You can see there it sits quite flat on the wrist despite the male end links rather than the female end links that I would have preferred. However, again, it is the same style as on the Rolex, so they are going to homage this basically down to the letter. Here it is on the strap as well. They gave a free NATO strap. The NATO is, yeah, it's pretty cheap, but it doesn't actually look too bad. It's a bit scratchy, but again, it's free, so you really can't complain about free stuff too much. Looks okay. Not so sure about black and grey. Maybe if you had it on the black dial one, it would look a bit better. However, if you change the strap, I think this becomes a completely altered beast. This is a Watchgecko grey leather one. I think it looks spectacular on this. It looks a lot better than it does on pretty much anything, including the stainless steel bracelet it comes with. I think if you are going to keep this one around long term, change the strap and you'll be a lot happier with it. Alternatively, if you want to mix your polar and your desert, how about a desert sands kind of strap? This is an elastic Zulu diver one that I have. It's an elastic style NATO. Some people, I think these might be called parachute straps. I'm always confused between parachute and Marine National straps. Either way, this is still a very good quality option to have. I'll drop links to all the straps I can find down below, of course, so if you guys want to pick them up for yourselves. However, if you actually want something from Pagani Design themselves, this is a Pagani Design rubber strap with quick release spring bars, and it's really comfortable. It's really comfortable. Sits down nicely on the wrist. Quick release spring bars mean you can change it out if you don't like it at a moment's notice. And I'd be surprised that they haven't been offering this with more options because it's great. Alternatively, if you really want the stainless steel look but you don't like the bracelet, you could throw it on mesh. This is a Watchgecko Milanese that I have. Again, I bought these as part of a multi-pack of straps. I can't remember how much I paid for any of these, but I will drop the affiliate links down below where I can find them. Pretty good option as well if you want something outside, a little bit outside the box, I should say. However, if you really want an orange strap, this is not a strap I would recommend buying. This is a Zulu Diver rubber. It's awful. It's really uncomfortable. It digs into your wrist, into the wrist bone. However, if you do want to find an orange strap, I'll try and find an orange silicone or rubber one on AliExpress for you guys. So not only do you get a cheaper option, but you'll get a more pliable, nicer option than this one. And finally, I think this is a very nice option as well. This is a Ritchie watch band strap in brown leather. Really nice. Again, quick release spring bars, so if you don't like it, you can flip it on and off at a moment's notice. But if you want to dress up your watch, I think this is a great way to go. I think the vintage style leather look really goes well with this old style watch look as well. And the fact that it's a white dial means it'll stay nice and neutral for you. So likes and dislikes for this one, and I suppose this could be a like or a dislike depending on which way you want to go with it. This is a very faithful homage to the Explorer GMT2. So if you take a look at the two side by side, you can see the Pagani on the left, obviously enough, and the Rolex on the right. Very little difference here as they pop up on screen, other than the fact that the Rolex has a bit more writing on it, as obviously the Rolex branding, and the fact that the Rolex has a slightly more cream coloured dial. They're basically an identical. It's a one-for-one homage on this one. Not many out of these out there as well. I haven't seen too many Rolex Explorer GMT2 homages. Pretty decent actually, in fairness. The bracelet is okay. It's pretty well made, in fairness. The clasp, much better than the Rolex ones that we're used to. However, there's a couple of things that I'm not a huge fan of on this watch. I do think the fact that Pagani are charging €120 for this, basically, not great. Yes, you get a better quality clasp, but actual usable micro adjusts, which is great. And of course you do get a diver's extension, which I don't think I've ever used a diver's extension on these watches, but it is handy to have if you're out and about and maybe you're going into a hot climate on your holidays or something. Also, those clasps are really decent in that they don't open or anything like that. You can give them a good pull and there's no worries. Things I'm not a fan of: screw down crown is gone and I'm still claiming 100 meters water resistance. I've got a Pulsar that has a screw down or non-screw down crown and it has 100 meters water resistance. That's like, I'd accept that from Pulsar because it's part of Seiko. Not sure about Pagani if I trust it or not. The cost is rising as well and they're not adding anything. Like, this is the same movement as in the GMT Master 2 Homage they do. The one on the left has all the same specs but a stainless steel bezel insert, and the one on the right has a ceramic blue and black bezel insert, which you would think would cost more. However, they're charging 120 for the one on the left, and I think it's only about 80 quid for the one on the right. Personally, I think it's just a bit strange. I'm sure they're just charging because they can at this stage, which is a bit of a shame. They haven't added anything else. I mean, we're going to show the lume shot here now. There we go. I think it's fine initially. Apologies again for the slanted watch as you can see on the screen. But the lume is not amazing and they're still charging 120 quid, give or take, as near as makes no difference really. And when you consider that, I actually think, I'm trying to remember back, but I only reviewed the GMT Master 2 Homage recently. I think the lume is better on that. And I mean, that's a cheaper watch. I think personally, for me, it's a better looking watch. It's got a ceramic bezel insert. You know, I understand people really want the Explorer 2 Homage, Explorer 2 GMT Homage, but it's just not doing it for me. As I say, I think if you're getting into that 100 plus range, you need to start offering a bit more, and lume is a great way to start because Pagani's have been notoriously poor for lume pretty much throughout their life cycle. I've not really had any where I've been massively blown away, and when you're comparing them to the price point of say Addy's Dive and Steel Dive, they're not competing really well. The other thing as well is the fact that the clasp is good but the bracelet is only okay. I'd like to see them improve their bracelets maybe. The clasp is very good. As I say, I'm a big fan of those clasps. I think they're really secure and solid, much better than the Rolex style ones that they do. This bracelet's a bit rattly. It's alright, but like it's only alright. Their Jubilee style one on the GMT Master 2 is much better. I think it's of a higher quality. Yes, it's got screw pins, but you're not getting anti-reflective coating on the sapphire either, so they haven't added that. You know, the links, they're fine. Even though they're solid, they feel a bit light. They feel a small bit flimsy. They do a good job of integrating into the case, though. I will give them that. There's no real rough edges on this one. Slight rough edge on the clasp, actually, now that I remember, but nothing too spectacular. Another thing, this is a personal preference. This may not bother anyone else, but I don't like the pearl movement. I don't think it's a great looking movement, and I hate the fact that they put an exhibition case back on these. I've got a Felida GMT and I think it's a lot nicer without the exhibition case back. This is one of the few exceptions where I would actually prefer a solid case back. I just hate that little pink thing. It looks like a stupid tongue or something like that to me. I don't particularly like the design of the rotor. It just does nothing for me. I think there's just enough things on this watch that make me want to not recommend it, unfortunately, which is a shame. So guys, there you have it, my review of the Pagani Design PD1682, aka their Rolex Explorer II GMT Homage. It's a good watch. It's not a great watch, I don't think, particularly when you compare it to the Rolex GMT Master 2 Homage they do already. You've seen probably the review on my channel. If you haven't, there's a link somewhere around here. It's the watch I compared it to in the video anyway. I just think that that was a better value proposition. I don't really see a huge amount of a step up in this one, particularly as they've gotten rid of a screw down crown. You know, the lume isn't really that great. I didn't find it excellent. I actually think the GMT Master 2 Homage they do is a better lume. And also, if you're charging 120 euros, you're into a new price bracket. You're no longer punching at that weight. You're now competing against the likes of Steel Dive, Addy's Dive, Felida, some other kind of ones that are, you know, their lume is a bit better, and I just think Pagani are kind of shooting themselves in the foot. You can either charge the price that they were and keep everything the same, or two, you can charge more money, but you need to step up the lume, guys. Really, you do. Or you need to start offering something else as a value proposition. Look, that's my feelings on it anyway. I thought it was a nice watch. I don't think it's a great watch. I'm not sad I bought it, but I also don't know if it'll be sticking around too long. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Let me know in the comments, guys. Subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to like the video and let me know what you thought about it. I have been your host DK, this has been the Watchtower Watch Views, and I will see you guys next time.